Welcome to Peak City Gym, the premier fitness resource here in Apex, North Carolina. We want to start bringing better, higher quality content to you guys, and this is our first attempt at a podcast. Shane said no one really has any plans for the holidays, but I do want to open that question up. Do you know if you have any plans for the holidays?
Thanksgiving, I think there's an open invitation to both sides of our family to come to our tiny, 2-bedroom house. So that'll be fun. And my wife's like, I got it figured out. Like, everybody could sleep here. I'm like, all right.
I assume they've all met before and get along pretty well if you're willing to do that.
For the most part.
That's wonderful.
Most part is hot topic. The most part, they all get along in a 2-bedroom house.
That's the testing grounds, I guess.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
feel like there's a 3-day limit where you can have like 3 days where everything's like okay, and then after 3 days it's like, all right, we kind of need to.
Well, and to be fair, my parents, they have like a converted like van RV sort of thing.
All right.
So they'll be in the driveway, and I guess if anybody needs a break, they can just take a break in the van.
Send them out to the van.
Go to the van.
You have a little "Do Not Disturb" sign on the door to the van. Like, I'm having my alone time.
That's your timeout zone.
Right.
That's what the holidays are about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alone time every half an hour.
With our holidays, does anyone change how they train or how they're eating in our holiday environment, or are we just kind of doing whatever?
I generally because I do like a little bit every day. So when the holidays come around, I generally don't have to change anything. I don't put as much pressure on myself to make sure I get the workouts in, but for me personally, it's like I don't feel right if I don't work out, so I don't really have a lot of pressure to work out anyway.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I pretty much keep the working out consistent the entire year. So when the holidays come, that's not really an issue. However, my eating habits, they probably get a little bit more relaxed than most other times just because there's a lot of good food being made. And I mean, that's part of, not the whole reason, but part of the reason that I like to keep consistent with working out is so that I can enjoy life a little bit when those special occasions come around.
What about you?
I'm definitely the same way. Obviously, I like to work out, the entire year. I definitely change a little bit up. Obviously, I like to enjoy the holidays. So I do step up a little bit of cardio. I don't do a ton of cardio throughout the year, but I will start to do it around the holidays, especially just because I'm like taking in the extra calories. Like I said, I like to enjoy the holidays. So all the good food, I'm definitely here for it.
I don't change anything, and I fully enjoy the holidays. I'm pretty inconsistent with training right now, or at least for the last 5 years, to be honest, of just kind of every couple of weeks I get really into it and I'll work out for the full week. And then outside of that, it's maybe once a week. But then during the holidays, last couple of times, it hasn't changed at all. I'll probably just be more conscious of my food. That seems to be the easiest way for me to manage things and not lose myself during the holidays. It's just I'll focus on proteins whenever I'm going to dinner and then have my cake and treats, but I also don't like a lot of cakes and treats, so it's not that big of a deal.
Well, then that's cheating. that's absolutely cheating.
I mean, I still enjoy them, very specific ones. It's more of if it's cherry pie or something, I'll have the whole pie. But if it was pecan pie, I won't eat it. So it really depends on what's available.
Yeah.
I guess I'm pretty picky when it comes to the holiday times. I think a lot of traditional holiday foods, I could really kind of take it or leave it. The really sweet yam thing with marshmallows and graham cracker. It's not really my thing. So things like that are pretty easy to just not touch.
I'm not a big pie guy, so when Thanksgiving is here, it's okay, the desserts, it's not too hard in terms of the sweet treats. What really is hard for me is when Christmas rolls around, right? Because then it's Christmas cookies, and everyone has their own thing that oh, well, my family makes this, and my wife is really good at cooking, and she makes a few different things, and it's awesome. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, now I'm going through my head, like kind of terms of nutrition. Okay, where if I'm gonna eat this, where do I take away some of the
Yeah,
other things? So I'm
right.
not just like overloading on
Yeah.
calories. So yeah, there, I mean, it definitely when we get to like Christmas time, I definitely have to start changing the way I
Mm.
eat
Mm.
or, plan out my nutrition.
Yeah.
So you said that you still pay attention to like protein and all that stuff during the holidays. You like still track or are just conscious of it?
No, I don't track it all. I'm just more conscious of when I'm going to build my plate at whatever gathering I'm going to just like emphasize the turkey or the ham or whatever it is. And just mainly because I enjoy that the most anyways.
Yeah.
So I don't want to eat a whole bunch of vegetables anyways. So I just focus on the proteins and just have that be the major portion of my plate, and then I'll more enjoy the treats and a whole cherry pie if I do the cherry pie.
That makes
That is
sense.
my favorite.
Yeah.
And there is a side of just genetics being good for me at this point in my life.
That helps a lot.
That definitely
Yeah.
helps. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't really change anything. Not at all. Just
Well,
enjoying it.
I always tell clients, like, because people, I used to do like all one-on-ones, and the holidays would come around and people like would like get like pre-guilty because they knew what they were going to do. And so I would just tell all of them, like, you've been working out and eating well, like, the past 11 months out of the year. Like, don't feel like you can't enjoy the holidays with like your family and everything. Like, it's perfectly fine to eat that crap. The problem, and this is how a lot of people like gain weight through their adult lives, is like they gain the 5 pounds during the holidays, but then they don't do anything afterwards for it to drop back down or drop even lower than where they started.
Mhm.
And so it's like, that's the problem, is not doing anything once you make those mistakes. Whereas like all of our members and like my previous one-on-one clients and everything, they already have those good habits. So like it's okay to kind of fall off the wagon a little bit during the holidays, because you're going to get right back on when January comes around.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest problems that we see is when we make these blanket statements, or you see it from Instagram influencers or something like enjoy yourself, enjoy the holidays and all that. I absolutely think that you should. However, there has to be some plan that you're going to get back to eventually. It can't just be
Yeah.
a free for all, because there's always going to be a birthday right after the holidays. There's
Mhm.
always going to be graduation season is right
Valentine's
after
Day.
that. Valentine's. I mean, every week you can
Yeah, it
all
can
those
kinda
Facebook
snowball.
holidays, National Sons Day, National Daughters Day, grab yourself a cherry pie.
And there's
always-
like a donut day or
yeah,
something.
there's always something to celebrate, always a reason to get off track and okay, I'll do it again next week. And yeah, you can give yourself, some of those definitive timelines of like, all right, December, I'm going to be a little bit more relaxed, and
Mhm.
January, I'm going to pick it right back up and go the 11 months. I think,
Yeah.
prior to the reasons we extend that holiday season more like 3 months or 4 months,
Yeah, right.
and then go through the rest of the year still celebrating every little holiday here and there.
Well, I think you can relax a little bit, but you still want to do what you can while you're.
Oh yeah.
So like, it doesn't mean relaxing in December doesn't mean like stopping everything. Like maybe it goes from like, working out 3 or 4 times a week to like 2 or 3.
Mm.
And
Right,
like
right.
maybe you don't have a salad with every meal, but maybe it's just like 1 meal a day or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not the all or nothing.
Right.
I'm not saying give up everything and
No, I
just
know,
lay on
yeah.
the couch, but yeah, relax a little bit. But there are people who, maybe it's not as necessary that they relax quite a bit because they haven't nailed down some of those habits yet. They're not quite as consistent. So some of the people that are only coming once a week and they're only eating, 40 to 50% of the time.
Mhm.
I mean, to relax on that, you're gonna dig yourself a bit of a hole. So you kind of have to be conscious of what you're doing at that time and how hard you're willing to work. And I don't just mean burning off the calories. I mean sticking to your, nutrition plan or whatever it is that you're going to do once the holidays are over. How hard are you willing to work and how consistent are you willing to be? Kind of for a long term, because again, you're digging yourself quite a hole.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like we've all found that in our training experience, nearly 35 years amongst us all, of just like working with clients, that it is so common for people to gain weight. Sometimes it's not as much as they expect. Like I was looking up some statistics, and most people expect that they would gain 10 to 15 pounds during this 3-month holiday block. But research supports that it's usually on average about 1 to 2 pounds. So we're kind of blowing this out of proportion and kind of getting frustrated. And that kind of ties into some mindset stuff that we can work on and talk about, of like, you're just expecting really bad things. You feel like you've gained 10, 15 pounds and you're like, why am I going to try again to try and lose this? When in reality, it's probably closer to that 1 to 2 pounds. Now, some people are gaining more, but realistically, we're not that far off. The trouble comes when during the season, during the real year, the rest of the year, we're not doing anything to actually lose that 1 to 2 pounds that we'd gained during the holidays. So we're just seeing this year over year over year of constant weight gain on top of the other birthdays and holidays and other things that we're constantly celebrating throughout the year. It just kind of gets ahead of ourselves, or we get behind on it, and it's just really hard to start to catch up, especially as we age. It's harder to move more and eat less and exercise more and all of those things. So we do need to like enjoy our holiday, because for most people, it's really only going to be 1 to 5 pounds. Like that's not a massive difference, but we stack that throughout the course of the year, throughout the course of many holidays, and it becomes an issue. So it's just really more of like changing that mindset of it's not going to be that bad, but we do need to get back onto our habits and the things that are actually helping us throughout the course of the rest of the year.
Yeah. Do you think, do any of you guys think that actually more people do gain more weight during the holidays? I mean, think of even our members here or people that you've worked with in the past. I mean, we know some of their stories and things like that. Do you think that research actually reflects kind of the reality, or what are your thoughts on that?
And what I was thinking about when Keegan said that 10 to 15 pounds is like people, and I think about yourself, like when you have a day where you eat like a bunch of crap, like fatty, sugary foods, and you step on the scale the next day, like it can go up like 5 to 8 pounds, but like that's not the 5 to 8 pounds is going to come off just as fast as it came on. You know, it's not,
it's mainly water.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's something that discourages people, is after the holidays, they do get on the scale and they see they're up like 10 pounds, when really that 10 pounds isn't like real weight. It's not 10 pounds that they've gained over the course of like 10 years.
Let's say it is like over the 3-month period. So like October, we'll say the end of October is the start of the holiday season. Let's say it's, 3 months down the line, and now it's like, okay, I'm 10 to 15 pounds heavier, because that's only 5 pounds a month. So you're gaining only a little
10,000 calories a month extra. That's a lot of food.
Well, so that's
he's got
research for this. In research for this, well, because knowing some of the members that we've worked with, and again, we've already touched on like, okay, what about the rest of the year, but specifically for the holidays. And I'll preface this with Brendan and I have some good weight fluctuations. You've probably seen pictures around the gym, but one specific weekend, we went to Philadelphia for the NCAA.
Tell the story.
Yeah, the NCAA lacrosse championship weekend, and that was in Philly that year. I can't remember what year that was, but like 2015 or something like that, 2016. Anyway, we basically went on a Philly cheesesteak tour.
Oh,
so we only ate.
That sounds pretty nice.
Other than one breakfast that we had at some restaurant, which that wasn't healthy either. We only ate Philly cheesesteaks. We'd basically get in the shuttle or the cab, whatever we were taking, and ask them where they thought the best were. If we'd already been there, we'd say, where's the next best one? And that's basically how we ate all weekend long. And how much weight did you gain during that?
It was like 15 to 17 pounds in like 3 days.
Yeah, wow. It was like, I mean, granted, we were drinking.
Truly
impressive. But yeah, we were also, having drinks. We were eating just pretty
and we
much
did not
cheese
work out that
steaks.
entire
Yeah,
time.
there was
It
no
was literally
activity.
just drinking and eating cheesesteaks all day, every day for 3. And so yeah, he put on that much weight. I don't remember mine, maybe like 12 pounds or something. So yeah, what CJ was saying, like that weight was going to come off. We went right back to our normal routine and all that stuff. Even though Brendan craved cheesesteaks for like 2 more weeks after that.
I would have thought after all of that.
But you know, we had a great time and we moved on. So yeah, absolutely, that weight can come off and everything like that. But let's say that it's something on a much smaller scale. So actually 15 pounds is 52,500 calories. That's above what you're already eating. So exactly what Keegan was saying, that's, you know, in the tens of thousands before you're actually going to see that weight gain. However, if you break it down by day, that's only 583 extra calories a day. So somebody who's, you know, going to holiday party, and that's just an average. So you could eat 1,000 calories and then, you know, not that much the next day, or 1,000 calories extra, I should say, and then not that much the next day. But to put it into perspective, 583 calories is basically 11 Oreos, 2 Snickers, 1 and then a little bit extra of a piece of pumpkin pie. Now, again, that's per day, every day for the 3 months. But conceivably, like, could you guys see people like
every other day?
You know, it's Halloween time, so I've been having a couple extra fun size candy bars out, and then I eat, you know,
especially when it comes to leftovers, right? And we've all fallen victim to the slice of pie or cake for breakfast. Like when it's just sitting there and it's like I don't have anything else to eat. I'm hungry. Like, yeah, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, but. Like,
it's not that you didn't have anything else,
right? So, but then we have a short memory, right? We forgot that we did that for breakfast. So when it comes to night, it's like, oh, I've been good all day. Let me have another one. And you like sometimes you end up forgetting how much you're actually eating.
Yeah.
So that's where like tracking sometimes can help. Obviously, if you get too bogged down with the tracking, like where it can be like somewhat detrimental. But so tracking, I mean. Not that everyone should track through the holidays, but if that's something where like, you know, you tend to have a short memory and, you know, you lose track of that stuff, it wouldn't be a bad idea to at least jot it down, right?
Yeah.
Not sit there and track every
I think
meal. But
food journaling is a really underused practice for a lot of people who are trying to get healthier or make better choices with their food, not tracking it, like weighing it or measuring it in any capacity, but just like writing it down, acknowledging what you ate and being able to look back at it. Regardless of like actually measuring it out, one, you're going to be more aware of your food intake, which is going to change the choices you make around it. But 2, you're also going to be able to remember, I did have a Snickers for breakfast, or I had a bowl of ice cream with my pie for breakfast, or whatever it is. It's just going to be a helpful reminder and put more awareness around your nutrition and your food and your health. And really the biggest progress I've seen with clients is just having them become more aware of what they're doing, either with fitness or nutrition or walking or anything like that. Just like them being mentally aware and like focused on those things, because life happens, especially during the holidays. There are so many things going on that bringing ourselves back to like the food and the nutrition and our health does help us just kind of like recalibrate once in a while.
I think that's where accountability is such a like important aspect of all this. Like that's why the strategy sessions are so important. I used to, like with one-on-ones, I used to ask them about their like nutrition and like their or were they getting their steps in and all that kind of stuff after every single session. That way, when we went through the holidays, they knew that they were going to have to tell me what happened. And it's not like I was never judgmental. I never told them they shouldn't. I told them what they should do, but I was never going to berate them for doing the wrong things. But they knew that they were going to have to tell me what they did.
You just gave the disappointed dad look.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
They're just afraid of disappointing someone else. People become so accustomed with disappointing themselves that like anyone else that they've made some form of commitment to, they're like, I can't let them down. Same thing with like scheduling a training session. People are always so apologetic for being 10, 15 minutes late. I'm like, you're paying me to be here. Like, I'm okay with you being late. You're here. That's what matters more than like you being 15 minutes late.
Brendan 1000% cares if you're late. But anyway, back to what you were saying about tracking, or I guess we were talking about tracking a little bit, or not tracking, but food journaling. So the recall. And while I think that that's definitely better than nothing, what frustrates me sometimes during strategy sessions is, one, yes, you do omit some things when, you're trying to recall it all, but two, like the damage has already been done by then. And especially during the holidays when it's like maybe you're not paying attention to protein as much, maybe you're, mindlessly eating, or you're at holiday parties where, you're going to be grazing much more often, and everybody knows that when you graze, you're going to end up eating a little bit more. But the whole point in that is maybe you should actually plan ahead, either the night before or that morning, so that way your breakfast is not a piece of cake or the leftover Christmas cookies. And if there are some speed bumps or some, unexpected holiday parties or eating times that you're going to be, engaging in, you've already controlled the other factors that are going to mitigate some of that damage. But it all comes to planning ahead, because again, journaling at the end of the day or the next day, you're bound to forget some stuff. And then also, like, what are you going to do? The damage has been done. You're anxious the rest of the day. No, plan ahead, get your protein in. If that's the only thing you focus on, get your protein in, let things kind of fall by the wayside a little bit, relax, nothing too crazy, but enjoy the piece of cake knowing, all right, I got my protein in. I know that I'm going to be primed up for whatever workouts I'm going to be doing, even if those are scaled back a little bit. But
well, I think everyone's going to be a little bit different, right? So, like, planning ahead is great, and then ideally, like, yes, that's what you want to do, so you don't have to like worry about the damage you've already done and then trying to correct whatever or fix whatever you've done. I think we all know that, there's a lot of us that procrastinate, right? And so the whole planning ahead thing, like, it's like, yeah, that's great, but I know myself, and like, as much as I might do it for a week, I might do it for 2 weeks, but then I'm going to fall right back into it. And so that's where I think food journaling can be helpful. If you're somebody that, like, yourself, and like, that, look, I've been doing this my entire life. There's no way I'm going to change and all of a sudden be a huge like planner and be very proactive person. It's like, okay, well then, yeah, food journaling would probably be a good way to go. To like, yeah, it's going to take you more time. Yeah, you're going to end up like kind of shooting yourself in the foot a few times, but it's like, you're building the habits, you're building the awareness. Now, if you're somebody who is a planner, then yes, do that, plan ahead, because now you're going to end up saving yourself a ton of time, a ton of effort that you like didn't really have to put in because you already planned ahead. So I think everyone's a little bit different, but yeah, ideally, like, yes, definitely plan ahead, because you will spend a lot less time playing catch up. Yeah. And you'll be ahead of the game, obviously.
With food journaling, I mainly mean like in your notes app on your phone, of just like when you put it in your mouth, you're writing it in your notes. So like as it's happening, you're constantly doing that and just being aware of like what you're eating, not necessarily how much, but like
because there's a certain thing when you have to write down, like, I just ate, I'm like on my 3rd mini crunch bar, and now you're like deleting to 4, not deleting to 5, and it's like, all right, now I'm actually bringing attention to how much of these I'm eating. Like, instead of just being like, eat it, toss the wrapper, and it's like, I forgot I already had like 3 of those. And again, short memory, right? So it all circles back.
And we can't play tricks on ourselves, like one slice of pie just being the whole pie.
Yeah. Like, yes.
Well, so what do you guys think, especially CJ? I know you're more into mindset, but when you recommend food journaling and stuff, do you recommend that, people write down like how they're feeling or what they're going through at those times, how their day is going, to kind of reflect if there's any, I don't know, behavioral
correlation?
Yeah, correlation.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've never explicitly had members do that before. But that's certainly valuable, because then you can like track patterns and see, like, it's just like an addict where, you can identify the triggers, like, oh, when my wife is mad at me, I tend to buy a half gallon of ice cream and eat it. No, that's absolutely a good addition to the food journal for sure.
Yeah. You just can't write hungry for every time. You have
to
write.
Would you find that valuable during the holiday season specifically, or just kind of a better strategy for like year round?
I think that's mainly year round, because I mean, even when you're feeling good, like during the holiday season, you're gonna be eating like crap anyway. It's I don't think you're gonna have any triggers that are going to make you go off track during the holidays, because you're already going to be a little bit off track anyway.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully that's actually the case.
1 second. I want to make sure the laptop's on.
I was about to say mine
Yeah,
went
I
to a
wiggled the
screen and I
mouse
had
as
to.
well.
Still going.
All right. It just went black and didn't go asleep, so I wanted to make sure it's still on. That would have been real shitty.
Hopefully that is the case, that you're already going to be, a little off track anyway, and there aren't any triggers. But the holidays specifically can be a triggering time for some people.
With family around and everything.
Yeah, family around. There's just extra stressors everywhere. Even if you're, missing loved ones, they're not able to be there for whatever reason. So I know that there are some triggers, even if they're subconscious. So maybe, food journaling and writing some of those things down. So journaling in general, to be honest with you, it doesn't necessarily have to be a food journal, but working through some of those things that might be just on a subconscious level affecting your behaviors that are maybe moving you a little bit off track.
That can help significantly with like your sleep and your stress and just your general well-being throughout the day, of like getting things out of your brain onto a piece of paper is one of the best strategies of just like decompressing, getting like those worries and stuff. If you're sitting up late at night and you're just mind's racing, just putting that out on paper can be a good way of just kind of like releasing a lot of those things. It's not going to solve them, obviously, but it can help you kind of like move past it in the moment, so you can go focus on actually either how to solve it or to sleep and recover and like do the things that you need to do to be functioning.
Well, it can help you stay focused too. Like if you wake up in the morning and then you just like jump on your phone and you're like scrolling TikTok, like that's how you're starting your day. But if you start your day like writing in your journal, getting stuff out of your brain, but then you come back to, okay, this is what I'm trying to accomplish today and this week and this month and blah, blah, blah. Then you're starting your day reminding yourself where you're going. And so when it's December 26th and you have all this like candied yams and all this crap in the fridge, you wake up and then you remind yourself, oh yeah, I'm still trying to lose weight and build muscle and blah, blah,
Well,
blah.
and kind of what you're touching on too is like setting goals. So it wouldn't be a bad time to set some goals like, okay, what do I want to accomplish through this holiday season? It might not be like, oh, I'm going to add like a bunch of weight to my deadlift, or, I'm going to drop like, 3 pounds or 4 pounds, whatever it is. But it might just be like, behavioral goals. It might be like setting the limits that you talk about, like not diving so into the relaxation, right? Where it's like, okay, I think you were a little too relaxed, right?
Yeah.
Like, setting some goals, setting some, or like even like limits, right? Where it's like, hey, when I go to like, the Christmas parties, I only allow myself to have X, Y, Z, where I can still enjoy it, but I know I'm not like taking it overboard.
Yeah.
Right. So setting goals, and some of them, like I said, might be progress goals, and some of them might be like, all right, maintain this throughout these next, couple months or whatever it is.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to interject too, because it is the holiday season, since I know you guys personally, and obviously I know you pretty well. And we were big into bourbon for a little bit, and we've definitely thrown back our fair share of alcohol. However, with our schedules now and the fact that we have young kids, alcohol is basically a non-factor pretty much ever. That's not necessarily the case for our members, or maybe if this ever goes to people who would listen to it other than our members, that they might be dealing with. And so, alcohol also has calories in it. It also makes a big difference.
And it usually leads
recovery,
to
sleep.
overeating.
Yeah, exactly.
It always leads to overeating.
And
let's be honest,
always
right?
the worst choices.
Right.
Like-
Taco Bell.
Like if you remember
I don't know
back
if
to
our members go
college,
to Taco Bell.
They might if they drink.
you remember back to college, like whenever you were drunk, you were always looking for like Taco Bell or
Oh, yeah.
McDonald's. You were not
We
ever going
had-
to like the salad bar at whatever.
Or be like, I'm gonna get this nice fillet.
We had a place that was only open from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. and they sold chicken and waffle sandwich. So it was a chicken, breaded, like fried chicken between 2 waffles.
Oh,
You
man.
get like honey mustard or like syrup or something.
See,
Yeah.
But yeah, that
That's
was
awesome.
it
That
makes
was the
sense
ticket.
why it was only open from
Yeah.
certain times.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like
Yeah.
what clientele you're going after, right? The ones who are drinking, right?
But yeah, but alcohol, definitely disrupting the diet, disrupting the sleep, causing inflammation, way harder to recover. And that's obviously not just during the holidays, but people tend to drink a little bit more during the holidays. So, and not that we have to go like far down that hole. I think everybody knows that alcohol is basically kind of poison. It is a good time. It's a social lubricant, so not against it. I will also throw back a few drinks once in a while. We serve them at all of our parties, so I'm not against drinking. It's just that having that in the back of your mind that those do count, and so when you look at the 583 calories, average a day, and you're looking at, did I gain 15 pounds? How many drinks did you have on top of those extra desserts and stuff like that?
Not even alcohol, just alcohol. Think about all like the specialty drinks. Like I love, like when I like Starbucks, right? Getting the like, what is it? Chocolate, mint chocolate mocha or something like that.
Yeah.
And then seeing in the app being like, oh, this is like 500, 600 calories, being like, okay, so this one drink is a meal.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, maybe I only have one of those every few weeks, right?
Yeah.
So like you think alcohol, then on top of that, and then you
eggnog.
start I was about to say you start combining like an eggnog, and then you have whiskey, then it's like, now you're just adding a whole bunch of, and again, it's fun to do. It's the holidays, enjoy it, but like, take that into consideration when you're planning out your food, if you're going to be drinking, kind of like you're saying. And then obviously the recovery aspect is going to be a lot harder, right? Your sleep's not going to be as good. So then you're going to be more tired. And let's be honest, Christmas parties and stuff, they happen like what, once every week?
Yeah.
Seems like.
Feels like it, yeah.
Your friends have
Multiple
it,
times
your
a
work
week.
has it, right? You have your own family one. It's like, all right, well, there's like 4 weeks in a row leading up to Christmas that I was getting, having drinks like 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So.
I will say that one of the studies that I was looking at in preparation for this, it was talking about in the springtime. It's interesting when people overconsume calories, it's typically carbs, and actually physical activity is up during that time, which kind of makes sense. You need carbs, and people are outdoors. And so I don't know if those carbs are necessarily candy or fruit or whatever. That would also make sense. But in the winter, even though we're talking about desserts a lot on this podcast, it's actually saturated in, well, just regular fat in general, but saturated fat specifically, that really increases during the winter. And as you know, that's the most calorically dense of the macronutrients. So it's 9 calories per gram of fat, whereas protein and carbs is only 4 calories per gram. Alcohol is 7, just in case you wanted to know that. But during that time, while people are eating the most calorically dense foods, their physical activity is dropping. And that's, for several different reasons. It's colder, it gets darker earlier, there's more to do and all that. But, what do you guys think? I know Keegan already asked what we do, but what do you guys suggest to clients who are just so overwhelmed by their schedule and this and that they're struggling to make it into the gym or to do their workouts?
Well, you have a few options. Obviously, there's always the like, just do what you can where you can, right? If it's just going out for a walk, even if you're in the hotel gym and you can hop on the treadmill, like whatever it is, just do what you can. Try to do something every day, like the same advice we give all the time. Now, in terms of like, it depends on how into your workouts you are, right? You kind of have 2 options, right? You can either, if you don't have a bunch of time like each day, okay, shorten your workouts and then maybe add one if you're doing 3 times a week for an hour. Okay, well, and you can only get like, half an hour in. Okay, well, then add another day or add another 2 days if you can, right? Or, if you can, like, hey, I can get most of my, like a good chunk done Monday, good chunk Thursday. Well, then you're going to have either a longer workout or a more intense workout to make up for those other days. But then even on those other days, you still have to be doing something. So, again, even if it's just like, hey, walk the dog around your neighborhood, it doesn't have to be anything crazy.
If you don't want to go outside, like a 30-minute yoga is roughly the equivalent of like a 30-minute walk. So like you just roll out the yoga mat, turn on like a yoga YouTube video, and that's the same equivalent as going for a walk, like basically minute for minute. So
it just hurts more.
Yes. I'm not the most flexible. Well, I mean, even a 30-minute walk would be great, but honestly, I mean, if we're looking for almost the bare minimum with some of our people are like, I just need, like, after your meal, your blood sugar, is usually going to be much higher. And only that, what is it, a 10-minute walk or 15-minute walk is supposed to significantly reduce your blood sugar. So you don't even need to commit a half hour. I still suggest, doing a half hour or really more, especially if you're looking to still make some progress during this time. But studies have also shown it doesn't matter if you break it up, into 2 half hours, if you want to get a whole hour, or 3 10-minute walks is still 30 minutes of walking. So basically do what you can when you can. And then, if you don't want to go outside, then get that yoga mat out.
I think people severely underestimate the power of walking and just like hitting their step goals. Like that got really, really popular 10 years ago. And it is still one of the strategies I use the most to get people to lose the most weight. When I was specifically doing transformations when I worked out in LA for celebrities to get on stage, to get photo shoot ready, like we didn't have them do any cardio. It was just walking, and it was never prescriptive of like you got to hit this tempo or this pace or this heart rate. It was just like go walk, hit this step number. We also tracked their calories, and like we worked hard 3 days a week, but it was 3 days a week working out and then steps every single day and tracking their calories. And we would lose 15, 20, 30 pounds sometimes in 6 weeks, depending on the client. Like it worked, and it just came down to steps. It was a lot of steps. Sometimes it would be 12 to 15, even 20,000 steps sometimes. But we always started people off at 10,000 steps. Nothing really special about that, but it just gives you like a nice round number to shoot for. And that's about 5 miles, I believe, for most people. It sounds like a lot, but you do 15 minutes, break it up throughout the course of the day, and you get there without even really thinking about it. Like working here for 4 or 5 hours, you get like 8 to 9,000, sometimes 10,000, depending on how active
Usually
the class is.
10 in the morning.
Like 10 in the morning.
We're in a small little
hitting,
glass box.
You guys can't really see all of this, but it's a small little glass box, and we're just like pacing back and forth and hitting like 10,000 steps without even really trying. And then I go home and I walk my dog and I do daily things, and I'm hitting 15,000, and that helps a significant amount. And it's not something special. Like it's super easy. It's just like staying consistent with it, because over every day you hit that step goal. That's a lot more calories than just kind of like going about your day. So it doesn't have to be like a power walk. Like a lot of people think it needs to be a power walk.
What's that acronym? The non-exercise
thermogenesis.
Yeah. I think that's like one of the most underrated aspects of health. And like you look at like
I can't remember what NEAT stands for.
It's like non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Okay, that's gotcha. Just so listeners knew what that meant.
We should say that clearly.
Yeah.
Non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Yeah. But yeah, like people, you look at like Europe and Asia, and people are, it's no mystery why people are like healthier and skinnier over there. It's because they walk everywhere. And like, have you guys heard of the blue zones?
Yeah.
And one of the main characteristics of blue zones is that they're moving all the time. Like they're either farming or walking or whatever.
Well, here we are basically built for convenience.
For cars and convenience.
You have to go right there for groceries, right there for this, and it's like you don't actually have to go anywhere. And even though like it is right there, people still aren't necessarily walking. We got
even for Harris
scooters.
Teeter right there. No one walks there.
Yeah.
Don't call me out.
I don't walk there either.
I was about to say,
it's just not very convenient for us to walk there because it's just not structured that way.
Right,
but like clients and members will go over to Europe and they'll be like, I ate all of this food. I drank willy-nilly. And they'll like say the food's different, but in reality, they're doing like 17, 18,000 steps a day without even thinking about it. And they're tired from it because we don't walk like that
food
normally.
Can play a part in
but
it,
like
but that is...
a lot of it is just like the enormous benefit that comes from just like moving and walking.
And I know I said like earlier when it was like, hey, do you guys change anything? And I was like, oh, I got my cardio. When I say cardio, like I'm not on like a stair climber or anything. I got my like stationary bike. I turn on the TV. I end up like watching a sports show and I like pedal for like 20 minutes. So it's not kind of like what you guys were saying. It doesn't have to be like super intense. Like I might break a little bit of a sweat by the end of the 20 minutes, but I'm not sitting there thinking like I'm on the Tour de France. Like,
well,
although you
I was
are.
gonna bring this up earlier, and I'm glad that you did. And we're talking about walking anyway. So obviously, you need a lower heart rate when you're trying to burn fat. When your heart
Yeah.
rate is jacked up, you're burning your circulating blood sugar, and then you're gonna break down the glycogen that's stored in your muscles to then circulate in your blood, and then use that as your energy. So, I wonder with the study that we originally mentioned where people are really only gaining like a pound or two, what the actual change in body composition is. Because I guarantee that we could talk to some of our clients who are like, oh, yeah, I mean, you only gained, 1.2 pounds. That's not bad. Now, we use the body metric, so we will be able to tell, like, are you gaining muscle or fat or what is it?
Yeah.
But not everyone does. A lot of people trust their bathroom scale. And so I wonder what the holidays between the eating and the lack of exercise and stuff like that, what does that
The
do to your
change,
body
yeah.
composition? Because it doesn't tell the whole story to just look on the bathroom scale. And I think a lot of people would do the opposite of what Brendan is talking about. He would, you'd get on there and be like, oh my God, I ate all this stuff and I need to go super hard, burn X amount of calories and I'll be good. And that actually might be detrimental to what you're trying to do, because now you're effectively burning up your muscle and quote unquote getting fatter, even if your weight stays the same.
That talk about frustrating, right? You're like working your ass off to try to do all this stuff, and then you're going backwards. And then that's where the discouragement comes in after a certain amount of time. Then it's like, well, maybe this just isn't for me.
Yeah.
Right. So then all of a sudden you just end up like completely lost, and it's really, you tried too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a weird concept to think about. Like, try less and like you'll probably get more benefit. But yeah, I feel like there are those certain people, and like of course we've all seen them, where it's like slow down, like don't do as much or don't go as fast or whatever it is. So
a big part of that body composition thing is also going to come down to like your ratios of the macronutrients, like with the higher saturated fats that you're consuming. And you're probably also consuming a lot of carbohydrates as well, just from all the sweet treats. Like we're usually pushing protein out. So if we're able to have that protein higher, it's going to be very muscle preserving. Even if we are eating a lot of extra calories, we may gain more weight overall, but we'll keep a healthier like body fat percentage overall because we're maintaining that muscle more effectively.
And let's be real, if you're hitting 0.8 to 1 gram protein per body weight, like, and you're actually hitting those goals every day, like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know how many cookies you're going to be fitting in
It's
after eating
so
that
hard.
much.
Yeah, right.
It's so hard to
it's
overeat.
not that easy. So like, even if you're hitting like 80% of 0.8, it's still like going to be like, I kind of have to force myself to eat this dessert because like you're just full, right? And that doesn't even include all the other stuff you eat. Like it's just protein based, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're hitting your protein goals, like you're not going to have to worry too much about like self-control because it's going to be hard to like really eat anything else.
Yeah, that's actually a really
Protein
good
is the most satiating macronutrient, and that's why it's kind of like almost abused as a word of like, just eat your protein, just eat your protein. Everything has protein in it now. I'm surprised they basically have protein water.
Well, it's
now.
all marketing too, because it's like, oh, look at this protein bar, and it's like it's got 6 grams of protein. Like I have to eat 5 of them, but then at the same time, you look at the sugar content, and you're like, okay, this might not actually even be worth it. So it's like, but I just got protein chewy bars, and it's like, well,
even some of the like fitness tailored protein bars are like 20 grams of protein, but then it's 36 grams of carbohydrates and sugar. And it's like not really giving you the intended outcome.
Right.
I usually prefer like a protein shake in that scenario. Like if I'm driving somewhere and I want protein, I'll go and get like muscle milk or something as my protein fix instead of a
because it's
protein
not a
bar.
guilt-free candy bar. Right?
It's usually
like, well,
a candy bar.
there's protein in it, so I can justify eating this candy bar. And it's like, well, all right, well, every once in a while, sure, but you do that too often, right?
Yeah.
Like,
we'll definitely have to do probably a whole podcast on protein and well, macronutrients, but maybe just protein.
Yeah.
Saying that I did want to bring up one more thing that you were talking about when you were working with the celebrities and all of that. We've said it before, but you just said that it was really about consistency. And I think that's where people who struggle year round, and then we throw the holidays on top of that, that's where messages and blanket statements really get kind of misconstrued because people think, oh, that applies to me. And it's like, well, no, not really.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to go through the whole holiday just walking 15 minutes to 30 minutes, for 3 months, yeah, of course it's better than nothing. But again, this is where the consistency really comes into play.
Mhm.
If you're not consistent about things and you're constantly up and down off of the roller coaster, then that's where things change a little bit, and you will have to tighten up a little, be a little bit more stricter, and have a little bit more of an individualized plan when it comes to, your training, we'll say cardio and lifting. But you've lost a fair amount of weight and everything, and your workouts have actually changed in the exact opposite way of what people would typically expect. Because you're not in here doing kettlebell swings and all that. You're basically doing a C and D block. Our members will know what that is, a strength block and accessories. And then later on, you come back and sometimes you'll be on the bike or you'll be at home and do the bike.
If I'm doing that a lot of times, so the times that I'll come back and do like a second mini workout, right? That's typically my D block. Right. So when you talked about splitting it up, like it doesn't really matter if you split it up. There's times where I come in and I pick so obviously I have my program. I do 2 main exercises a day. So, I might do bench and then like barbell RDLs, right? So go in, I'm like, all right, I have my warm-up sets, and then I'm going to like 5, 6 sets, whatever I have written. I take my time during those. So I know sometimes people get bored, but it's like, okay, well, I'm going to rest for a couple minutes in between, because I'm also trying to push weight where I need to rest in between. So even though my workouts have toned down in terms of I'm not doing 15 exercises in a workout, right? I'm only doing 2, but I'm pushing a weight where it's okay, this is actually taking me all of my effort and energy. So I have to recover, right? So even though I'm pulled back, you get some people that will work out and they're like, well, I think I'm pushing myself hard. And it's but you're not, right? You have to push yourself. And some people just don't know, I've never pushed myself that hard, so I don't know what I can do. And that's where you gotta start testing those boundaries a little bit. So that way, when you're doing bench press, it's not like you're grabbing 5-pound weights when it's well, I'm pushing myself. And it's well, I know that if you grab those 15s that you could probably do them almost just as easily, but it's in your head, right?
Well, progressive overload.
My general rule of thumb is if your last set wasn't slower than the first, then you didn't push yourself hard.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Right. The 2 reps left in the tank, right? There's different ways to approach it, but ultimately, you have to actually push yourself in the time that you have, right? So sometimes in the mornings before classes start, I do my C block, right? So my 2 main lifts, and then if I don't have time where I'm just moving slow that day, later when I come back, I do 3 or 4 exercises that supplement what I did earlier that day, throw in a core and.
So what would you say? What would you say to somebody who's that's not enough, or how do you fit everything in? And by everything, usually they don't know exactly what they mean.
Stop trying to fit everything in. We talk about as trainers the curse of knowledge. There's tons of stuff that I'm I should be doing this and this and this and this. And ultimately, it's that's great, but you're never going to get all that stuff done. What can you get done? What is going to be the most beneficial? So you have to get your priorities right. So, if you're trying to add muscle, doing band clamshells might not be the best use of your time. Now, if you have a bad back in your hips and okay, well then, maybe we do need to start adding in some clamshells and stuff. So that way, when you do your main lifts, you're not injuring yourself. So again, finding the priorities of okay, here's my goals. Here's what's going to get me to my goals. Do the bare minimum that is required of you to get to the goals, right? If you can do 80% of the work versus 100% of the work, and you're going to get to the same place, why are you doing 100% of the work?
Right. I think that holds true whether it's holiday time or just normal day-to-day life. The minimum effective dose is going to be better than trying to do everything, because you need, within training and progressive overload of just slightly getting better over and over and over, you need to be doing more eventually. But if you throw everything at yourself now, you have nowhere to go. So if you want to get better at running, you're going to run 100 miles in a week. You can't just run 102. There's a limit to how many miles you can run in a week. We need to figure out what would get us some result now, and then we can start progressing from there. One, because that's just going to help us build the habit of actually showing up and being consistent. But two, it's also, you're not going to get hurt. You're going to decrease the risks of injury. You're going to just feel better day to day and like actually show up for life and not just make the gym and exercise your life. Cause I mean, I don't know about you, like this isn't my life.
Yeah.
I like to work out and I like to be here, but like this isn't everything that matters to me.
Right. Yeah.
Like I do this to be able to go out and do the things that matter
Right,
to me
yeah.
and like engage in the things that matter to me and feel good while doing it and not be in pain. But
Right.
like I don't wake up in the morning and be like, yes, I get to work out today. That's all I want to do. I like to work out and I do look forward to my workouts, but it's not like what gets me excited.
I was about to say, your hobbies are also not couch surfing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You go
right.
like legit hiking and
Yeah,
camping and
yeah.
do a bunch of active stuff. So like, yes, this stuff would certainly be supplementing the stuff that you like to do.
I wake up one day and I'm like, let's go for a 10-mile hike.
Yeah.
And
It's
then,
like, and you can do that
Yeah.
because you've been working out,
yeah,
right?
Right.
yeah.
What would you guys say to somebody who like, you know, is asking about rest days and
Mhm.
stuff like that? Because basically all of our plans are all predicated on consistency, right?
Mhm.
I see a lot of your workouts. I've seen you work out in here. I work out with you most of the time. So we all work out relatively consistency. Rest days, you know,
Mhm.
when you're only doing five exercises for 4 to 7 sets each or whatever it is,
Mhm.
you know, you don't necessarily need a rest day all the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
What do you guys suggest for that?
My opinion is that like generally most people don't need to recover as much as they think they do.
Mhm.
Like they're much more capable of more work than what they think they are. Now that's a interesting relationship with minimum effective dose. But it generally like as far as like let's say you want to build muscle, like there's been studies that have shown like even 5 sets, granted as long as they're taking close to failure, 5 sets for a muscle group per week will build muscle. That's not a lot.
It's not.
So like
Yeah.
yeah, you don't there's a lot of room for error there. And I generally tell people like just do a little bit of something every day, and when you wake up and like you can feel it, like your mind's not there, you're a little bit sore, you know when you need to take a little bit of a rest day. But generally, like especially if you have like a family and you have like a really busy job or career, like it's better to do a little bit every day, and then life will make you take a rest day.
Mhm.
That's my general policy.
Yeah.
That's exactly my philosophy. Like there's enough stuff in people's lives that they will be forced to cancel a session, miss a workout. It was supposed to be an hour and I only got 20 minutes in, something like that. Yeah, so even during the holidays, like don't plan for a rest day.
Yeah.
If anything, if you want to plan for rest, go back to what Brendan was just saying and rest in between your sets. Rest a little bit longer there. Don't worry about getting to what we call E-block or a finisher at the end to burn yourself out. And again, especially during the holidays, because you're up later, you probably aren't recovering as well. You're more inflamed. Go a little bit heavier, rest a little bit longer, take your time, and then be consistent. Because when you start trying to plan rest days and do other things, that's when you come in here and it's like you're burning calories to just burn calories, and you only need a rest is because you way overworked yourself on one workout, and that's not going to lead to consistency.
Yeah, and there's many ways to taper off, right? You can either reduce the amount of like reps and go heavier, right? Increase the amount of rest. You can like, all right, I'm gonna go light and be able to recover that way. I think part of the problem is like we find this hard line of like, well, I need to recover. Well, if if you're recovering for like 3 straight weeks, it's no longer a recovery. That's like your new habit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like this whole like, well, I didn't sleep well last night. Well, that's like the sixth night in a row. Like maybe you need to have a different fix, but you then you just need to figure out a different time. Maybe you can't come in the morning because your sleep is so trash you can't get up. Well, then you need to sleep in longer and you need to come in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Don't use that as an excuse, right? Especially if it's like a constant. It's like, well, then if it's this consistent, then you're just never gonna end up coming to the gym, right? So yeah, being able to like fix those things and not just be like, well, I had to sleep in again because I didn't sleep well, or whatever it may be.
I think a big thing that CJ said was like going to failure, and like that proximity to failure is a really crucial point of whether you need rest days or you don't need rest days. Of like, if you're pushing your body to failure in the exercises, your intensity is going to be higher, so you're going to need more recovery from that. Now, if you're only doing 5 sets a week of going to that failure-ish point, really only like 1 to 2 to failure, 1 to 2 before failure, then you probably won't need a rest day. But if you've been doing this for a while and you're doing like 20, 25 sets, reaching failure towards the end of the week, maybe you do need the rest day. But most people we're talking to and like helping and working with here at the gym, like a rest day is not going to be super valuable because one, they're just not pushing hard enough. And that, we kind of talked about this earlier, is like they don't really know where that is or how to get there. And a lot of it's like fear or just like insecurity with like, or confidence of being able to like, yeah, you can actually lift that. And I think a lot of people are surprised how strong they actually are and their ability to actually lift weights and lift them well and safely. But it does take some time to like be comfortable with it.
Oh,
like,
it's
regardless.
one of the best part of our jobs, I think, is when somebody comes in and they don't quite think that they're able to do something, and then it's only fast forward a month or so, and all of a sudden they've like way exceeded their own expectations, and now they're able to lift this, or even if it's a body weight movement that we're doing, a Turkish get up or something, it's like, oh my God, I'm able to do that. But when you guys have both been bringing up failure, obviously we know what you mean, but what is failure? For the listener or our members, how are we describing or defining that?
So I think it's important with exercise. Like, yes, we move our bodies as like humans to just like exist in our day-to-day life, but all of these movements we do in the gym, not necessarily things that we do outside, they're skills. Like, we need to develop that skill to do and perform this exercise in any capacity. And I don't think people like associate exercising with building new skills. Like, a lot of the new exercises that we do and a lot of the movements we do are new ways of moving your body that you've never done before or never done with weight or in any capacity. So like, we need to develop that skill first before we're able to push more weight and get that intensity. And that's where like failure comes into play, is once we are able to develop that skill set and the capacity to actually push ourselves and to lift weights, failure is like, how long are we able to do that with good form? So if we're doing like a split squat, are we able to do the split squat, say with 20 pounds in each hand for 10 reps? And then on that 11th rep, our form starts to break down. That's where failure is, not to the point where you're not able to get up off the floor.
Yeah.
The more skilled you are at the exercise, the more closely related the technical failure of your form breaking down and the mechanical failure of your muscles not being able to move gets closer and closer. Like, I don't know for everyone else, but for me, like, I've been training long enough that for a lot of exercises, my form doesn't break down until my muscles are like, we're not moving anymore. But for a lot of people that we work with, that's not necessarily the case. So we do need to be kind of more mindful and like look at those other cues of what is breaking down, and is their body breaking down in ways that we need to start to pull them back. Because that's where like a lot of injuries come from, is like people can lift the weight, but then they push past that technical failure and their body starts to break down in other ways that it's not supposed to be moving in.
So if we have 10 reps of something and somebody's able to do it, they think they're going to grab weight and it's going to be 10 reps, but they're only able to get 8. Is it better to stop at 8 or go down and wait and grab and then do all 10 reps?
I prefer with like all exercises, I think the number of reps is more of a guide as to choosing the weight for yourself and
Yeah.
not like an actual number of reps that you need to hit. And I I know a lot of people I've tried to coach that into people and they're like, no, but I need to hit the 10. That's what
It's
you
tough
said.
for the average
Yeah.
person to understand that. Yeah.
And I'm like,
I always,
no, it's more of like a guide to
Yeah.
choose your weights based off of what you think you could probably hit at
Right.
that. But if you can only hit 8, there's no special sauce for getting 2 extra reps. It's
Mhm.
all about the mechanical tension that your muscles feeling, and that's going to come from reaching that failure point and pushing yourself to that point.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say it kind of depends on the day. If it's a day you're not feeling that great, then like, okay, go down and weight, but you better be intentional about your form and you're
Yeah.
really focused on building that internal tension and, you know, technically you're like perfect.
Mhm.
But if it's a day you're feeling good, then why are you going to go down and weight? Just, you know,
Well,
Keep
it's
going
it's
for the 8. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
worth mentioning, like, because we're talking about failure, and like the average person may start to think like, oh, every single one of my sets needs to, like, I need to fail
Yeah.
every set.
Mhm.
1 to 2 reps from failure generally has almost the same stimulus as complete and total failure,
Yeah.
with going back to recovery with less recovery required.
Yeah.
So you don't need to feel like every single set you don't have anything left in the tank.
Mhm.
Like you
not
always,
just that, but not every exercise either.
and not every
Yeah.
exercise. Yeah.
So not every set and not every exercise. So for like us here at Peak City Gym, and our members will know what we're talking about, C block usually has 1 or 2 exercises that are, you know, strength exercises that we do want to push to failure. Sometimes D block will have 1 in there.
Mhm.
But typically it's only going to be 2 to 3 exercises that we're really trying
Mhm.
to push to technical failure in our workouts. And those, I think, during the holiday, if you're going to be skipping stuff, it's, you know, like, okay, maybe you don't do as much of B block, maybe you skip E block, but you're focused on working to technical failure, at least, you know, 1 set, maybe 2 sets of those major exercises, and you're doing some accessory work to make sure you don't end up with issues down the line or injuries.
Yeah. Essentially what we're saying, for those that don't know what E and B and C block are, is we're focusing on like the big major lifts, like a squat motion or a deadlift motion or a chest press or a pull motion. Like those are the exercises that are going to give you the most bang for your buck in terms of effort to value to yourself, for both building muscle and for just like progressing in any capacity. So focusing all of your attention on that, and then maybe having a couple of those accessory movements that are going to help you recover if you have knee pain or your lower back hurts or anything like that. Mainly focusing on those 2 to 3 exercises that kind of build up your whole body, and then a couple exercises to support any injuries that you have or anything that you want to emphasize more. Like if you want bigger arms and like you don't have other injuries, you do curls or like tricep extensions. Like that's kind of what we're talking about when we say like you're focusing your intensity on those big major movements, and then you don't necessarily have to take bicep curls to your pure failure. Like it may be fun for you, but like curling in a rack, like that's kind of a meme of doing a barbell curl in a rack. Like you don't generally need that much weight and that much intensity to be able to get growth out of your biceps.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you still want to do questions from members?
Yeah, we can do that.
I can pull it up here if you want.
Cool.
I think I still have it up. Of course not.
Oh, what a loser. I mean, I'm the loser for not having them up. I got something in my eye.
Like dust or something.
Yeah, just on that last little thing. Maybe
All right. So you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So we did open up so we did go around and ask some of our members for questions about the holidays that they had specifically. So I want to just kind of open these questions up to all 4 of us and kind of discuss what our perspectives are and how we would answer it for them. First one up: what are the foods that I should avoid during the holidays?
I like how you all look at me. Like, oh,
You're the
okay.
donut man.
Well, I mean, for me, like honestly, I wouldn't avoid any food, right? It's like again going with moderation, where it's
Yeah.
like okay, like you don't have to avoid the like desserts or avoid some of like your favorite sides, but again, just keep it in moderation. Like you said, plan ahead. If you know, like, oh man, I'm gonna have like mashed potatoes, and I end up eating a mountain of them, right? Okay, well, plan ahead. Know that okay, breakfast that morning, or maybe breakfast the next morning, I may not have as much in terms of calories to try to like make sure that I'm still hitting my averages. But yeah, I wouldn't avoid food or any certain foods. It was just keep it in moderation.
I would be the same way. I wouldn't avoid anything. We touched on it earlier, but if you prioritize your protein and kind of figure out around where you should be eating with that, then again, you're not going to really overconsume on any foods. So yeah, I wouldn't avoid anything, to be honest.
What about
Yeah,
you?
just
Any
portion.
different?
Yeah, portion control.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I struggle with demonizing any specific food, and I really think it's going to come down to. I had this conversation with my nephew who said Uncrustables were unhealthy because of all the sugar, and I was like, we kind of broke it down, and he loves Gatorade, and I was like, well, if we're looking at these things, like Gatorade has 4 times as much sugar as an Uncrustable, so it's like the timing in which you're consuming it, the quantity. Like obviously, if you have 15. That's not the best choice.
They don't even sell 15.
Nobody here's ever done that.
Nobody here eats
know the
Uncrustables.
To be fair, I always take 2 out and I put them in either pocket to help them defrost. So I'm not judging either way. But like it's all about our relationship with the food that matters the most. And if we try and avoid foods and end up eating it anyways, it kind of goes back to the mindset of like we get frustrated with ourselves, and that tends to lead to more overconsumption of something else or of that exact thing. So just like be graceful and don't set expectations of avoid things, but look at moderation and portion control. Next question. Why does my family and friends try to sabotage me? Is it okay for me to have that one slice of pie? Are there any ways that I can like tell them to stop?
You guys ever see that? I saw this video online of, I think it was like a youth group, and this guy had a girl stand up on a chair and he like pulled her off the chair, and then he was like, okay, now you try and pull me up to the chair, and he's like, see how much easier it is to pull someone down. Then that's exactly what I mean. People don't people feel isn't that
like
good?
That.
Yeah,
that's good.
People don't, when they see you like being disciplined and like not feeling bad about it, people don't like that. That being said, yes, it's okay to have a piece of pie or whatever.
I think
that's why people are. That's why people do that.
I think a lot of that comes from like them feeling self-conscious with themselves. Like,
Yeah.
I know most of y'all have experienced this. I've talked to you too. Like when we go to parties or holiday things, people always feel like we're judging them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, well, we have a plate of all of the same foods. They're like, I'll go on my diet next week. I'm like,
Shane and I usually clear out a room when we go to parties.
Like,
when they find out we're trainers.
it's the holidays. Like we're not trying to avoid any foods. Like it's not about that. Like we're not judging you. We don't go around looking at people's plates and be like, oh my God, they're eating that.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of it's just their own personal things that they're projecting on you. And we do need to remind ourselves that they're not judging you. They're just like more projecting their own personal feelings on you. And it is okay to have that pie. Like you're fine.
Most of the time I'm looking at other people's plates and I'm like, man, I wish I was eating that.
Well, don't forget, like a lot of people, like in today's society, we lack self-discipline.
Yeah.
So when somebody has like a good like self-discipline or a good amount of it, you're sitting there like you're like kind of like a little bit jealous. Where I'm like, dang, I really wish I could do that. Like,
it makes you uncomfortable.
I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever done this. But have you ever tried eating dessert while somebody next to you is like eating celery and you guys are just sitting there hanging out? Like it's way more fun if somebody eats the cake with you.
Yeah, right.
Because you're like, all right, cool. Like they're eating it too. So you can kind of justify it a little bit. But if they're eating celery and you're eating cake, all right, maybe I can't justify this in my head. So it starts to be like, well, maybe you're really only going to have celery. Why don't you just have cake? And then all of a sudden that's where the sabotage starts to kick in. So I think part of it is that, where it really, yeah, it ultimately always comes down to like, you know, I wish I could be doing that, or I may have some insecurity that like I'm trying to get you to pull you down with me.
I would just give on my soapbox and start talking about how bad gluten is and red dye 40 and just everything to push them away.
Yeah, right. There you go.
It depends on how much you want to be around this particular family member. You can do that strategy if you never want them to come back.
Yeah. Well, politics is obviously like the go-to.
Oh yeah, obviously.
True.
Yeah.
You pull that card out, and they're.
I do that if I want the whole
They'll
pie.
give you some distance. There you go.
Oh, man.
We kind of hit this a little bit earlier, but why does it get so difficult to lose that holiday weight after we're 30 or 40 as we age? Why is it so hard to lose that holiday weight?
Well, typically you have more stressors depending on what you got going on in your life, right? Things are busier. So like, again, you know, it's hard to find time to work out, even if it's not the holidays, right? With the, you know, the birthday parties or Valentine's Day, and then this anniversaries, this.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's hard to get into a rhythm. And then there's all these like short breaks where it's like, oh, well, 2 days here, 3 days here. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's really hard to kind of get back into your routine, especially after the holidays where you've been having fun. And it's like, well, you know, a couple more days won't hurt. It's already been like, you know, 30. So,
Well, and just hormonally, everything is changing as well. So, you know, we deal with, well, we don't, but perimenopause, testosterone dropping as well. So you don't have as much protection for any of the oxidative stress that you're putting on your body from poor lifestyle choices. So you're going to be more inflamed more often with the lack of those hormones. Not only that, but any oxidative stress that is placed on your internal organs and stuff, it's relying on amino acids from either your protein intake, or if you're not getting adequate protein intake, then it's going to take it from your actual muscle tissue, break it down into amino acids, and then send it to those organs to replace the damaged tissue. So that's why it is very hard to keep off weight, you know, year round and things like that. And then when we accelerate our caloric intake during the holiday season while also decreasing our physical activity, then it's kind of no wonder that it's going to be hard to dig yourself out of that hole.
Really smart.
yeah.
A lot of big words in there.
I was going to say, my dad was right about you. You are a nerd.
There was a member who used the word precocious earlier, and I had to look it up. Brendan also looked it up and showed it
Typed
to
it
me.
into Google. It was like precocious, and then showed it to him. Like, here's what it means.
I was impressed you knew how to spell it.
It helps with autocorrect.
Yeah, autocorrect helped a lot. That's all I could think about while you were going through that. I was like, big words. My dad was right. You're a nerd.
Lots of science in there.
All those college words.
And you pulled out the research papers. Like,
You know-
you're really not doing yourself any favors. We need to get you a bow tie and a pocket protector for these.
I'm just trying to live up to your dad's expectations. I've never met the man, but
Yeah, it really, for me, I've seen a lot of just activity changes a lot as we age, and we don't necessarily see it because it's a lot of that neat exercise that we're losing. We're not walking as much. We're not being as active. Like, our kids are growing up. We're not running around and playing with them. I don't have small kids, but I know you three do, and are always talking about how active and rambunctious they are and how you're trying to just like keep up with it constantly. And when we're in our 40s and 50s, those kids usually by then are not doing that. They're able to do their own thing. So our activity levels are just naturally going to drop. Our jobs generally become more serious, and we're sitting behind a desk for most of it. Like, there's a lot of just these built-in factors of daily life that we're losing because of age, and people around us are aging.
Well, a lot of times we don't even notice because they happen like slowly over time.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not like just like, hey, tomorrow you're just going to start sitting behind a desk. It's like, you know, slowly over time, like your kids play with you a little bit less, a little bit less, and you don't even realize it's happening. And then, you know, you look back and you're like, oh crap, like, dang, I haven't like, you know, gone for a walk in like 3 weeks, 3 months, whatever it is. But yeah.
And the only thing I'll add is that like our bodies and our minds really like are always seeking equilibrium. Like, I'm always trying to gain weight, and I know like I'll get a diet figured out and I'll gain like 5 pounds in like 2 or 3 weeks, and then it feels like I'm stuck there for a while. And it's because whether you're gaining weight or losing weight or whatever, like you get in these habits and it can be really tough to break out of them. And even when you do break out of them, your body always wants to return to that state where it's been hanging out at for a while.
Yeah.
Like I've seen this, I don't know how many times with people trying to lose weight, and they'll eat less and less and their weight's just staying the same for like a month. And they're like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just like, just wait, like it'll happen. And then like after 6 or 8 weeks, their weight drops like 3 to 5 pounds.
Yeah.
And it's just because it's fine. Their body is finally broken out of that equilibrium, and they make a little bit more progress.
Shane's mentioned our roller coaster of weight gain and weight loss over the years, and that's definitely like I have noticed that pattern with myself where like I'll make these changes, look, and I might like drop like a pound, right? Might drop like maybe 2, and then it's like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready. Right? I've made all the changes. Like, where's the actual results? And then like it's kind of funny because then all of a sudden it's like, dang, the past 3 weeks, like now I'm starting to see it. And so to kind of your point, like, yeah, I mean, sometimes it takes your body a little bit to catch up.
Yeah, it's called the set point theory.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah. No, yeah, set point theory is just where your body tries to return back to the state that it had, like you said, been hanging out for a while.
With your weight fluctuations higher and lower, do you guys feel like you always, if you were to just not do anything, you find a set weight point of like, you just kind of sit around this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, pretty much.
As I aged, it has changed. At one point, it was 180. Like I couldn't do anything to get higher or lower. It was I was stuck at 180, or I'd have to try really, really hard. Right now, it's around 200, and I have to try hard to get past that, or to get really below that. But like I can have like 10-pound fluctuations without really even thinking about it. But it's always kind of around that. That 200 pound.
I was about to say, I definitely don't have the problem CJ does with gaining weight. If anything, I definitely like, I mean, yeah, I usually, unless I'm like kind of like, oh man, I was really, bad the past couple of weeks with my portion control or whatever. Usually I'll hover within the same like 4 to 5 pounds, right? You kind of bounce back and forth depending on the day. Hey, I drank more. Something as simple as like, oh, I didn't poop yesterday. All of a sudden, it's like, well, now you get, you're
language,
like 2 pounds, right? Well, I mean, it makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
People sit there and worry about like, oh, I gained 2 pounds. It's like you could poop that out by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, it's really that simple. So yeah, usually like you give it a few days and then you'll see the true story, not just like the overnight fluctuation.
Right.
Yeah. Usually kind of like sit in a general area of like 4 to 5 pounds.
Beautiful. Coming up to our next one. Should I save calories for holiday parties? Like not eat, fast, and like save up for these big holiday parties that I know are coming up. We talked about this a little bit of like adjusting your calories and changing that kind of stuff. But is that a good strategy? How far should I take it?
Obviously, fasting you can take pretty far and go pretty drastic. I would just be very careful. Like if you're not used to fasting and you're like, I'm just gonna not eat until the party tonight, like
you might go overboard.
Cake, right? Like I probably don't do that, right? I would say kind of like borrow calories, right? Where it's like, hey, I'm gonna not necessarily not eat, but I'm gonna eat like a little bit less, or sometimes maybe I have like a midday like snack. Well, maybe I won't have a midday snack this time, and that I'll use for an extra piece of whatever I'm gonna eat later.
What about if we change that to eating before you go, like kind of changing the calories, saving a little bit, eating a meal or something prior to you going? Is that a good strategy, even though you're consuming more before you go?
It depends if you're somebody who eats for taste.
Yeah.
So you can eat that meal beforehand, but if you like get there and you're like, oh, it smells good, and it's like, then it's like, well, then you just ate the same amount plus the meal before, so now you're really in the hole, right? So you depending on your personality, you got to be careful with that. I know that's a trap that I would definitely fall into myself. So depending on how much I ate and what I ate beforehand would be key.
I would say if you're gonna do like the fasting thing or skipping a meal or whatever, like if you're gonna do fasting, like definitely follow an actual protocol. You don't just skip meals willy-nilly or like I'm not gonna eat today, but like that's going to lead to more destruction than anything else. But if you're following a fasting protocol and you adjust the fasting periods to account for your parties, then by all means, that would make the most sense. You don't want to stand there like hungry while everyone else is eating all around you. The other thing too, it's basically a version of what you guys are already saying and what we've said before. If you prioritize your protein and everything first, then you're fine. And people have a trouble when they say like, "Oh, I need to eat, 120 grams of protein." Like, okay, well, that's 480 calories. So you have what, 1,700, 1,600, whatever. How many more calories? Like, you have
How many
tons of
cookies are you
calories.
planning on eating?
Yeah, you have tons of calories. You don't need to save them and do this and that. What you need to do is prioritize the right things, eat those for breakfast and lunch, and then relax a little bit at dinner, guilt-free. So again, it comes to planning ahead, prioritizing, and being consistent about stuff.
And talk about blood sugar and stuff, about eating your protein in the morning and how that can be beneficial. But you also got to think, when you wake up first thing in the morning, you have the most energy and you have the most like self-discipline in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can control what I eat in the morning. It's usually when it hits 8 o'clock at night that I start going down the like, okay, like standing there looking at the pantry, like, what else can I eat, right? But at like 8 in the morning, 10 in the morning, I'm like, I don't even care about the cabinet, right? So like, what you're talking about, prioritize the healthy things when you have the most self-discipline in the morning. And then when you start to like, okay, yeah, I really could go for a cookie. Well, now you can have that cookie and probably going to bed not too long after. So you don't have to worry about, eating too many of them.
If you are going to go to a party and like the eating beforehand works for you, or you think it would work for you, emphasize that meal to be almost predominantly protein in some capacity. Even like, one, because when you go to the party, you probably won't have the best choices of protein. So you can control that of having like a lean chicken breast or a chicken thigh or whatever it is. It can give you a good start of like, as long as I hit my goal with protein, I know I'm good. I'm comfortable with whatever extra calories I consume. But like, as long as I hit that, for me, it's 200 grams. That's a lot. Like, that's hard to reach on a good day. But if I know that I hit that, I'm okay. Like, that is my one and only goal. We kind of mentioned setting some goals for ourselves previously of like, that is my goal. As long as I hit my protein goal or my protein target for the day, I don't care what else happens. I kind of just don't even think about it. If I overconsume another 1,000 calories, that's one, going to be really difficult. But two, like, whatever, it's fine. But I've hit my protein goal and I'm okay with that.
And good luck doing that multiple days in a row.
Yeah, like
hitting protein goal and
yeah, like that adds up so fast to just like the volume of food in your belly. Like, it would be uncomfortable to overconsume that much for that long. So like, I just focus on that, and that's the only thing I worry about. Like, I let everything else just kind of go to the wayside.
Yeah. Cool.
And last but not least, how can I stick to my training with all of the activities during the holiday season? I think we mentioned this a little bit, but do we have any closing thoughts on what we would do to stick to our training coming into the gym here specifically, or whatever?
Yes, I do. I have plenty to say about this. No, one, if you're a member of Peak City Gym, or even if you're not, we have free downloadable programs. So you can always use our app to do any of the at-home workouts. Some of them require no equipment at all. Some of them are only 20 minutes. There's a 10-minute like mobility morning routine in there. And so you can find all that stuff on YouTube. There's a million free fitness stuff out there. So even if you have to do it at home, that's fine. My main thing is be consistent, plan it, and make sure you stick to the plan. Don't put it in the middle of the day or at the end of a busy day when you know that's like, it's not likely that it's going to happen, but at least I planned it in there. No, like, make it a priority. And then even if it's only that 20 minutes, just stick to it. That's it. You just have to do something, and that's it.
Okay. A lot of it comes down to just like almost sucking it up in some ways of like, you're still going to show up for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, we need to have our mindset of, you're showing up for yourself. This is something good for you, and that you want to meet and reach your larger goals, not just like enjoyment. We're not just floating through life. Like, we want to achieve things that we've set ourselves for. So part of it is just like, you show up for yourself enough, you get the confidence that you can show up for yourself, and it just builds upon itself.
Yeah. I think, because throughout this whole thing, we've kind of been just saying like, yes, enjoy the holidays, but like prioritize and like, you know, we've kind of been talking about compensating for the holidays, but all that being said, like when it comes to workouts, like there may be some days where you have to say no to some people. Like you have to say no to, I guess, I mean, you're usually working out in the morning, but you may have to show up to your friend's house for Christmas lunch like an hour later or something like you're gonna have to make some sacrifices.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
I agree with
it's all right to make those sacrifices.
Yeah.
Like we are also still choosing things for ourselves. We don't need to be so selfless during the holidays. We do need to make time for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we just want to see you.
Yeah, we will
Yeah.
miss you. All right. Thank you all very much for joining us on our first podcast. Let us know down below if you have any thoughts on what we could do better. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.